But to Dad, I wasn't building a real company. My phone buzzed during our weekly leadership meeting. I glanced down. A text from Mom. Jessica, about Thanksgiving next week. Your father and I won't be able to make your event. Ryan and Melissa need us at her celebration dinner. You understand, sweetie. Your computer thing can wait. My computer thing. My Series C funding announcement. My company's valuation hitting $2 billion. My thing. I set the phone face down and returned my attention to our CFO's presentation on Q3 revenue growth. 200% year-over-year. But sure, Mom. My computer thing could wait. Let me back up. I'm Jessica Chen, co-founder and CTO of Luminex AI. We build machine learning platforms for healthcare diagnostics. Our algorithms can detect certain cancers 18 months earlier than traditional screening methods. We have contracts with 47 hospitals across the country. We employ 312 people. And yes, I still work out of what used to be a garage in Palo Alto, though now it's a renovated 15,000 square foot headquarters. But to my family, I was Jessica who played with computers in a garage. Ryan was the success story. My older brother, the corporate lawyer at Morrison & Klein, one of the top firms in San Francisco. Partner track. Corner office on the 32nd floor. Suits that cost more than my monthly cloud computing bill used to, back when I was bootstrapping. His girlfriend Melissa had just been promoted to VP of Marketing at a Fortune 500 consumer goods company. 27% salary increase. Profile in the company newsletter. Her own parking spot. Dad called me the day she got promoted. Your brother is so proud of Melissa, he said. VP at 33. That's real career progression, Jessica. That's stability. That's the kind of success that matters. That's great, Dad, I said, looking at the term sheet on my screen. Sequoia Capital was offering to lead our Series C at a pre-money valuation of $1.8 billion. I'm happy for her. When are you going to think about stability? This startup thing, it's been 6 years now? 7. 7 years in a garage. Don't you think it's time to get a real job? I have a friend at Wells Fargo. They're always looking for IT people. IT people. I had a PhD from Stanford in artificial intelligence. I had published in Nature. I had spoken at 3 conferences in the past year. But sure, Dad. IT people. I'll think about it, I lied. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, I'd closed the Series C round at $2 billion, hired our first chief revenue officer from Google, and scheduled our Series D roadshow for January. Our lawyers projected we could file for IPO by next summer. And I'd invited my entire family to our Series C celebration dinner. Black tie optional, 47 investors. Press from TechCrunch, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal. The works. Mom's text was her RSVP. They'd chosen Melissa's VP dinner instead. I looked back at our CFO. Sorry, David, continue. He clicked to the next slide. As I was saying, the healthcare sector represents our fastest growing vertical. We're projecting. My phone buzzed again. Dad, this time. We're very proud of Melissa. This is the kind of achievement we can celebrate as a family. Your event is just business. You'll have other business dinners. We'll catch the next one. Just business. The Series C that would let us expand to 200 hospitals. The Series C that would bring our cancer detection technology to another 50,000 patients. Just business. I texted back, understood. Enjoy the dinner. I didn't add. And enjoy explaining to your friends why you don't know what your daughter actually does for a living. The celebration went beautifully without them. Our lead investor gave a speech about paradigm shifts in healthcare. I gave a speech about our mission to save lives through early detection. The Wall Street Journal took my photo next to our prototype device. Dad sent a text at midnight. How was your business dinner? I sent back the Wall Street Journal link. He responded, nice photo. Now go to bed. You have work in the morning. He didn't read the article. I knew he didn't. Because if he had, he would have seen the paragraph about our valuation. He would have seen the quote from our investor calling us the most promising healthcare AI company in the country. He would have seen my title. But Dad never read articles about tech companies. That wasn't real news. Real news was Melissa's promotion. 2 weeks later, I was in my office reviewing our legal strategy for the Series D when our general counsel, Patricia, knocked on my door. "Got a minute?" she asked. "Sure." "What's up?" She sat down, pulled out her tablet. "We need to start thinking about IPO preparation. I've been reaching out to law firms for preliminary discussions. And 4 of the top 5 firms are interested in competing for our business, including Morrison & Klein." I looked up. Morrison & Klein. That's Ryan's firm. Your brother works there? Patricia raised an eyebrow. I didn't make the connection. Different last names. I use my mother's maiden name professionally, I said. Privacy reasons. Easier to keep work and family separate. Smart. Anyway, they've been very aggressive in their pitch. The managing partner specifically requested a meeting with you, said they have expertise in tech IPOs that would be valuable. I thought about Dad's text. Your computer thing can wait. I thought about 7 years of family dinners where Ryan talked about his cases while I sat quietly, knowing that any mention of my work would be met with polite nods and quick subject changes. Set up the meeting, I said. I want to hear what they have to say. Patricia nodded. I'll coordinate with their team. They're proposing next Tuesday, 3 p.m. That night, I called my former roommate from Stanford, now a partner at a competing firm. Sarah, I said hypothetically, if a family member's law firm wanted to pitch for my company's IPO work, would that be a conflict of interest for me to take the meeting? Depends, she said. Are you the sole decision maker? No. We have a board. 7 members. I'm 1 vote. Then you're fine, especially if you disclose the relationship up front and recuse yourself from the final vote if needed. Document everything. Have your GC present. Record the meeting if your company policy allows it. We record all external meetings. Security and compliance. Then you're golden. But Jessica, real talk. Don't give them the business unless they're legitimately the best option. Family or not. Trust me, I said, I won't. Tuesday arrived. I wore my usual work uniform, black turtleneck, jeans, white sneakers. Patricia wore a suit. We sat in our large conference room, the one with the glass walls overlooking the main engineering floor. Ryan arrived at 2:55 p.m., 5 minutes early. With him were 2 senior partners and Melissa. At a legal pitch meeting. Ryan's face went white when he saw me sitting at the head of the table. Jessica, he said. What are you doing here? I work here, I said calmly. Please, sit down. You must be here for the Morrison & Klein pitch. You work here, he repeated, still standing. You work at Luminex? I'm the CTO and co-founder, I said. Shall we begin? I know you have a presentation prepared. One of the senior partners, a man named Douglas, recovered first. Miss Chen, wonderful to meet you. Ryan didn't mention his sister was affiliated with Luminex. Different last names, I said. Easy to miss. And Ryan, I don't believe we've met your colleagues formally. Would you like to introduce everyone? Ryan's jaw was tight. This is Douglas Hammond, managing partner. This is Stephen Walsh, our head of securities law. And this is Melissa Park, my fiancée. She's here as a consultant on the marketing aspects of the IPO. Fiancée. That was new. I made a mental note to congratulate them later. After this meeting. Wonderful, I said. Patricia, our general counsel, will be sitting in. We record all external meetings for compliance purposes. I assume that's acceptable? Douglas nodded. Of course. I leaned back. Before we begin, I want to disclose that Ryan is my brother. I've discussed this with our board, and we've agreed that I can participate in this meeting but will recuse myself from the final selection vote if Morrison & Klein makes the shortlist. Patricia will ensure all firms are evaluated on identical criteria. Is everyone comfortable with that arrangement? Very professional, Douglas said, shooting Ryan a look I couldn't quite read. We appreciate the transparency. Great. Please, proceed with your presentation. Douglas opened his laptop, connected to our screen. The Morrison & Klein logo appeared. Luminex represents exactly the kind of innovative company we love to take public. Our tech IPO practice has successfully launched 17 companies in the past 3 years, with a median first-day pop of 32%. The presentation was good. I'd give them that. They had relevant experience, reasonable fee structures, strong underwriter relationships. Douglas was polished. Stephen clearly knew securities law. Then Melissa spoke. I also want to add, she said, that from a marketing perspective, having Morrison & Klein represent you sends a message to the market. We're a prestige brand. When retail investors see our name on the S1, they know they're looking at a serious company. I kept my face neutral. That's interesting. What's your background in IPO marketing, Melissa? I'm a VP of marketing at a Fortune 500 company, she said. I understand how brand perception works. And how many tech IPOs have you been involved with? Her smile faltered. Well, not directly involved, but the principles are the same. I see. I made a note on my tablet. Continue. The presentation lasted 45 minutes. When it ended, I asked my questions. Your fee structure includes success bonuses tied to valuation, I said. Can you walk me through how those would be calculated? Stephen handled that one well. Your timeline estimates 18 months from engagement to IPO, I said. What are your assumptions about SEC review periods? Douglas handled that one competently. Your team structure shows 8 associates but only 2 partners actively involved. How do you ensure continuity if a partner leaves mid-process? Douglas hesitated. Stephen jumped in. It was a decent answer. Then I asked the question that mattered. Tell me about your most recent healthcare tech IPO. The one that filed last quarter. Silence. We haven't done one recently, Douglas admitted. Our most recent healthcare tech was 3 years ago. And how did that one perform? 28% first day pop, he said. And where is it trading now, relative to IPO price? More silence. 40% below, Stephen finally said. But that was due to market conditions, not our. I'm sure it was, I said. Thank you for your time. Patricia will follow up with next steps. After they left, Patricia turned to me. You were brutal. I was fair, I said. Was anything I asked unreasonable? No, she admitted. But you knew they didn't have recent healthcare experience. You knew about that failed IPO. You did your homework before they walked in. Of course I did. That's my job. My phone buzzed. Ryan, we need to talk. Now. I texted back, I'm in meetings until 6. Can it wait? No. I sighed. Conference room B. 5 minutes. He showed up in 3, with Melissa in tow. What the hell was that? He demanded. That was a pitch meeting, I said. Your firm requested it. You ambushed me. I ambushed you. Ryan, you showed up to pitch legal services to my company. How is that an ambush? You didn't tell me you worked there. You never asked what I did for a living. When's the last time you asked about my work? He opened his mouth. Closed it. Melissa jumped in. This is exactly the kind of game playing that makes family businesses so toxic, she said. You could have given Ryan a heads up. I wasn't aware Ryan needed a heads up to do his job professionally, I said. Were you unprepared for the meeting? That's not the point, Ryan said. The point is, you sat there asking questions designed to make us look bad. I asked the same questions I'll ask every firm. Patricia has the list. You're welcome to see it. And you're going to tell me those questions weren't designed to embarrass me in front of my managing partner? I stood up. Ryan, I asked about your fee structure, your timeline estimates, your team continuity, and your relevant experience. Those are standard due diligence questions. If you found them embarrassing, maybe you should examine why. We both know you're not going to give us this contract, he said. You're right, I said. I'm not. Because your firm doesn't have recent healthcare tech IPO experience, your last healthcare IPO significantly underperformed, and your team structure shows inadequate partner involvement for a transaction of this size. But that has nothing to do with you being my brother. Bullshit, Melissa said. This is personal. This is business, I said. And frankly, Melissa, I'm not sure why you were in that meeting at all. What exactly was your role in that pitch? I'm Ryan's partner. I support his career. That's not how corporate legal pitches work. You're not a lawyer. You're not part of Morrison & Klein's team. Your presence was inappropriate and suggested to me that your firm doesn't understand professional boundaries. You're unbelievable, Ryan said. 7 years in a garage and now you think you're some kind of corporate titan. I think I'm someone who takes my fiduciary duty to my company seriously. Our investors are trusting me to select the best legal team for a transaction that could determine our company's future. I'm not giving that responsibility to a firm that sends unqualified consultants to pitch meetings, regardless of who those consultants are sleeping with. Melissa's face went red. How dare you? This meeting is over, I said. Patricia will send your firm a formal rejection letter by end of week, along with identical letters to the other firms who didn't make our shortlist. You'll all receive the same professional courtesy. I walked out. That night, Dad called. What did you do to your brother? Hello to you too, Dad. He's devastated. He tells me you sabotaged his firm's pitch for some contract at your company. My company. Luminex AI. The Series C, I invited you to celebrate. Don't change the subject. Why would you do this to him? Do what? Evaluate his firm's pitch on its merits and determine they weren't the best fit. You could have helped him. Family helps family. Family also respects family, I said. Family shows up to family's achievements. Family doesn't dismiss family's 7 years of work as playing with computers. Jessica, don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being accurate. You chose Melissa's VP dinner over my Series C announcement. You've spent 7 years telling me to get a real job. You called my company a garage business. And now you're angry that I won't hand Ryan a multi-million-dollar legal contract. His firm isn't qualified to handle? That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Dad. But business is. Business is beautifully, perfectly fair. The best qualified vendor gets the contract. The best product wins the market. The best team builds the company. There's no favoritism in business. There's only results. You're making a mistake. Maybe, I said. But it's my mistake to make. I have to go. Board meeting in 10 minutes. I hung up. Mom called an hour later. Your father is very upset. I know. Can't you just give Ryan's firm the contract? It would mean so much to him. Mom, that's not how this works. This isn't a family favor. This is a billion-dollar IPO. We're talking about taking a company public that serves hospitals, that helps detect cancer, that employs 300 people. I can't just give that responsibility to anyone. But he's your brother. And I'm a CTO with a fiduciary duty to my shareholders. Those things don't change just because Ryan is family. She sighed. When did you become so cold? That one hurt. I won't lie. I'm not cold, Mom. I'm professional. There's a difference. If you say so, dear. She hung up. I sat in my office, looking out at the engineering floor. Sarah had told me to document everything, to be professional, to make the right call regardless of family pressure. I'd done all of that. So why did I feel like the villain? My co-founder, Michael, knocked on my door. You okay? Family stuff, I said. The Morrison and Klein pitch? You heard? Patricia mentioned it. She said you handled it perfectly. My parents disagree. He sat down. Look, I know this is hard. But you made the right call. We went with Chen and Hartwell. They have 3 healthcare IPOs in the past 18 months, all trading above IPO price. They're better qualified, period. I know. Your brother will get over it. Will he? Michael shrugged. Eventually. Or he won't. But that's on him, not you. You didn't create this situation. He pitched to your company without doing basic research about who he was pitching to. That's on him. He didn't know I worked here. I use a different name. Jessica, your company has been in the news. Forbes did a profile on you 6 months ago. If he'd Googled Luminex even once, he'd have seen your face. The fact that he didn't tells you everything you need to know about how much attention he pays to your work. He was right. I knew he was right. But it still hurt. The next 2 weeks were silent. No calls from Dad. No texts from Mom. Radio silence from Ryan. Fine. I had a company to run. We selected Chen and Hartwell as our IPO counsel. We started drafting the S1. We began investor roadshow preparations. We hired a new VP of engineering from Amazon. And we scheduled our IPO filing for March 15th. 3 weeks before the filing date, I got a call from an unknown number. Is this Jessica Chen? Yes, who's calling? This is Barbara Hammond, Douglas Hammond's wife. From Morrison and Klein. I sat up straighter. Mrs. Hammond, how can I help you? I'm calling about your brother. And my husband. I'm not sure I understand. My husband told me about the pitch meeting. About how you asked questions that exposed gaps in their preparation. About how you selected a different firm. Yes, we went with Chen and Hartwell. They had more relevant experience. I know. And I want to thank you. I blinked. Thank you? My husband was furious after that meeting. He spent 3 days reviewing every decision he'd made in the pitch process. He realized your brother had pushed for Morrison and Klein to pursue Luminex without doing proper research. He told Douglas it was a guaranteed win because you were his sister. I see. Douglas is a proud man. The idea that he'd walked into a pitch unprepared, relying on a personal connection rather than competence, was devastating to him. He reorganized our entire business development process. They now do comprehensive research before every pitch. They review every team member's qualifications. They prepare answers to tough questions. That's good, I said carefully. Your brother was counseled. Formally. It's in his file. Douglas told him that Morrison and Klein's reputation is built on excellence, not connections, that if he ever again represented a pitch as guaranteed without doing the work, he'd be terminated. I didn't mean to. You did exactly what you should have done. You held them to the standard they claimed to represent. And it made them better. So thank you. She hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone. Ryan had been formally counseled. Because of me. My phone rang again. This time, it was Ryan. We need to talk. Okay. Not over the phone. Can you meet me? Somewhere neutral. We met at a coffee shop halfway between his office and mine. He looked tired. Douglas counseled me, he said without preamble. I heard. From who? His wife called me. She thanked me. He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Of course she did. Barbara always loved a good humbling story. Ryan. No, let me talk. I've spent the past 3 weeks being angry at you. Angry that you embarrassed me. Angry that you cost me a huge client. Angry that you made me look incompetent in front of my managing partner. I waited. And then Douglas showed me the recording of the pitch. Made me watch it with him and Steven. Made me watch myself promise a guaranteed win without having done any research. Made me watch Melissa talk about IPO marketing when she's never been within 10 miles of an actual IPO. Made me watch you ask reasonable questions that we couldn't answer because we'd been lazy. You weren't lazy. You just. I was lazy. I assumed that because you were my little sister, you'd give me a pass. I assumed your company was small enough that personal relationships would matter more than qualifications. I assumed I could show up unprepared and charm my way through it. He took a sip of his coffee. I Googled you yesterday. Actually Googled you. Did you know you've published in Nature? Yes. Did you know you spoke at the Global AI Summit last year? Yes. Did you know Forbes called you one of the top 10 entrepreneurs under 35 to watch? I knew all of that, Ryan. I lived it. I didn't know any of it. 7 years. 7 years of you building something extraordinary, and I didn't know any of it. Because I never asked. Because I assumed computers in a garage meant you were playing around. I didn't say anything. Mom showed me the Wall Street Journal article. From your Series C celebration. The one Dad said was just business. Do you know what that article said? I wrote the quotes for it, so yes. It said your technology has the potential to save hundreds of thousands of lives. It said your company is valued at $2 billion. It said you have 300 employees and contracts with 47 hospitals. It said you're preparing for an IPO that could value the company at over $4 billion. That's the plan. $4 billion. And I called it playing with computers. To be fair, Dad called it that. You just agreed. He winced. Not helping. You wanted to talk, Ryan. I'm letting you talk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not taking you seriously. I'm sorry for not asking about your work. I'm sorry for assuming Melissa's VP promotion was more important than your Series C. I'm sorry for walking into that pitch meeting unprepared and expecting you to bail me out because we're family. Okay. Okay? That's it? What do you want me to say? You apologized. I accept your apology. Are you still angry? I was never angry, Ryan. I was disappointed. There's a difference. He nodded slowly. For what it's worth, Melissa and I broke up. Oh. I'm sorry. Don't be. She couldn't understand why I was so bothered by the counseling. She thought I should file a complaint against you for conflict of interest, said you were jealous of our relationship and deliberately sabotaged me. That's not. I know it's not. I watched the recording. I saw you disclose the family relationship up front. I saw you ask the same questions you asked the other firms. Patricia showed me the evaluation criteria. You were scrupulously fair. More fair than I deserved. You deserve to be evaluated on merit. Everyone does. Yeah, well. Melissa didn't see it that way. She saw family as a card to play. And when I told her I disagreed, that I actually respected what you'd done, she said I was choosing you over her. What did you say? I said she was right. I was choosing integrity over entitlement. Then I asked her to leave. We sat in silence for a minute. I told Dad, Ryan said finally. About what you actually do. About the Forbes article. About the Series C. About the IPO plans. How did he react? He didn't believe me. At first, said I must have the wrong company. So I showed him your website. Showed him your bio. Showed him the Forbes article with your photo. Watched his face as he realized he'd spent 7 years telling his daughter to get a real job when she was building a company worth billions. And then he cried. I've never seen Dad cry before. Something twisted in my chest. Ryan. He wants to talk to you. He's been trying to build up the courage to call for 2 weeks. He doesn't need courage. He just needs to call. It's not that simple for him. He spent 7 years being wrong. That's hard to admit. I know. My phone buzzed. Dad. Speak of the devil, I said, showing Ryan the screen. Answer it, he said. I'll give you privacy. He left. I answered. Hi, Dad. Jessica. Do you have a minute? For you? Always. Ryan told me. About your company. About what you've built. I know. Why didn't you tell me? I tried, Dad. For 7 years, I tried. But every time I mentioned my work, you changed the subject. Every time I invited you to visit the office, you were busy. Every time I achieved something, you dismissed it as computer stuff or told me to get a real job. I know. I did. And I'm sorry. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What else do you want, Dad? You're apologizing. I'm accepting. I want you to understand why I did it. Why I didn't take you seriously. I'm listening. When I was your age, I tried to start a business. Import-export. I thought I was going to change the world. I worked 90-hour weeks. I maxed out credit cards. I begged everyone I knew for money. And after 3 years, it failed. Spectacularly. I lost everything. Had to move back in with my parents at 32 years old. I didn't know this. He'd never told me this. After that, I got a job at the bank, worked my way up. It was safe, stable, predictable. I built a comfortable life for your mother, for you, and Ryan, and I promised myself I'd never take those kinds of risks again. Dad, when you started talking about your startup, all I could see was me at 30, full of dreams and destined for failure. I couldn't watch you go through what I went through, so I pushed you towards safe options. Real jobs. Stability. I thought I was protecting you. You were protecting yourself, I said quietly. From watching me fail like you did. Yes. And I'm sorry. Because in protecting myself, I failed to see what you were actually building. I failed to see that you're not me. That you're brilliant and capable and you've accomplished things I never dreamed of. Thank you for saying that. Ryan showed me your Forbes interview. The one where they asked what motivated you. I remember. You said you wanted to build something that mattered. Something that saved lives. Something that proved hard work and innovation could change the world. Do you remember saying that? Yes. That's what I wanted, 30 years ago. That's exactly what I wanted. And you did it. You actually did it. I felt tears starting. I blinked them back. I'm so proud of you, Jessica. I'm sorry it took me 7 years to say it. I'm sorry I missed your Series C celebration. I'm sorry I chose Melissa's dinner over your achievement. I'm sorry for everything. I know, Dad. It's okay. It's not okay. But I'm going to make it right. Your IPO, when is it? We're filing March 15th. The actual IPO will probably be sometime in May. I want to be there. Front row, I want to watch you ring the opening bell. I want to tell everyone there that you're my daughter. Can I do that? Of course you can. Thank you. And Jessica? I'm sorry I wasn't a better father. I'm sorry I let my fears stop me from seeing your success. You deserved better. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. We talked for another 20 minutes. He asked about the company. Actually listened. He asked about the technology. About our patients. About our team. He asked intelligent questions. He took notes. When we hung up, I sat in the coffee shop for a long time, just breathing. Ryan came back. How did it go? Good. Really good, actually. He's going to the IPO? Front row. Ryan smiled. He called me last night. Asked me to explain what you actually do. I spent 2 hours walking him through your Forbes article, your website, your published research. Watching him realize he'd been wrong about everything was simultaneously satisfying and heartbreaking. For what it's worth, I said, I never wanted to prove anyone wrong. I just wanted to build something that mattered. I know. And you did. $4 billion kind of proves that. It's not about the money. I know that too. It's about the patients. The lives saved. The early detections. The families who get more time because your technology found something 18 months earlier. That's what matters. When did you become so insightful? About 3 weeks ago, when my managing partner made me watch myself fail and my little sister succeed with equal professionalism. We sat together, two siblings who'd spent 7 years talking past each other, finally hearing what the other was saying. For the record, Ryan said, Chen and Hartwell is better than Morrison and Klein. For healthcare IPOs, anyway. You made the right call. I know. Of course you do. You're brilliant. I'm just thorough. That too. 3 months later, we filed our S1. The press covered it extensively. Forbes ran another profile. TechCrunch did a deep dive on our technology. The Wall Street Journal put me on the front page of their business section. Dad called after each article. Did you see what they wrote about you? Every time. Like I hadn't been interviewed for them. But he was proud. Finally, genuinely proud. The IPO was set for May 12th. I arranged for my family to be there. Front row, like Dad requested. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I walked around the office at 2 a.m., looking at everything we'd built. 7 years. From 3 people in a garage to 300 people in a headquarters. From a prototype to a platform serving 47 hospitals. From an idea to a company worth billions. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. I know you're not sleeping. Neither am I. Too excited for tomorrow. I'm proud of you, Jessica. Not because of the valuation or the IPO. Because you built something that matters. Because you never gave up, even when I told you to. Because you're everything I wanted to be and more. See you tomorrow. Love, Dad. I read it 3 times before answering. See you tomorrow. Love you too. The IPO went perfectly. We priced at $42 per share. By market close, we were trading at $58, up 38%. Our market cap hit $6 billion. Dad stood in the front row, watching me ring the opening bell. He cried again, but this time they were happy tears. After the ceremony, a reporter asked me how it felt. It feels like validation, I said. Not because of the money. But because we built something that works. Something that saves lives. Something that matters. And your family is here to celebrate with you, the reporter noted. I looked at Dad, at Ryan, at Mom. Yes, I said. They are. The reporter smiled. That must feel good, having their support. It does, I said honestly. It took 7 years to get here. But we got here. After the interviews, after the champagne, after the congratulations, I found myself alone with Dad for a moment. Thank you for coming, I said. Thank you for inviting me. Even after everything. You're my father. Of course I invited you. I don't deserve your grace. Maybe not. But you have it anyway. He pulled me into a hug. I see you now, Jessica. I finally see you. I know, Dad. I know. And the thing is, I meant it. The anger was gone. The hurt was gone. All that remained was the quiet satisfaction of knowing I'd built something real, something lasting, something that mattered. Not because my family finally recognized it, but because I knew it all along. The recognition was nice, but it wasn't necessary. I'd already proven everything I needed to prove, not to them, but to myself. That night, I went back to the office. Not to work. Just to sit in the space we'd built and remember why we started. To save lives. To detect cancer early. To give families more time together. That was the mission. That's what always mattered. The IPO was just a milestone. The real work continued tomorrow. My phone buzzed one more time. Mom, your father can't stop talking about you. He's telling everyone at the retirement community about his daughter, the CEO. I think he's finally figured out what CTO means. I smiled. Better late than never. He's proud, honey. We all are. And I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. It's okay, Mom. Really? See you Sunday for dinner? Wouldn't miss it. I looked out at the engineering floor, dark and quiet at this hour. Tomorrow it would be full again. Full of people working on algorithms that saved lives. Full of people who believed, like I did, that hard work and innovation could change the world. 7 years in a garage. 7 years of being underestimated. 7 years of building something real while everyone told me to get a real job. And now, a billion-dollar company. 300 employees. 47 hospital partners. An IPO. A future. But most importantly, a mission that mattered. The rest was just numbers.